Great. Nice to be inside.
Josh, just ask you how it's coming. I mean, in terms of from when you're hired to when your first game is, you're kind of at a midway point, and just how you feel about putting things together, installing things the way you want to.
Yeah, feel really good about it from the start, just making sure the staff was in place and getting all that in order. And then going through the NFL free agency and attacking that, moving on to the college draft and being able to come away with Mech and Tez out, that was great. And then having the guys here and being able to get into the installs and actually be out on the field. And not that we're going against the defense quite yet, but just getting the conditioning down. We've harped on these guys running as much as possible and grinding it out, and they've done an unbelievable job so far. So everything's been good. Looking forward to OTAs and being able to go against the defense a little bit. But no, it's been great up to this point.
How much input did you have with Emeka as far as Light and Bulls drafting him?
I'm sorry, what was it?
How much input did you have? Like, how much did they consult you at all?
On who?
On Emeka.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was very collective. From the time we started watching his tape to meeting with him in Indy, it's something that's very collaborative between myself and B-Mac and, of course, Coach Bowles and Jason and the rest of his staff. So we go through anybody that's really draft eligible as well as after the draft, and we were aligned and trying to get him here, and very fortunate to do so.
What do you think he brings to the team?
For one, he's just so tough, smart. He's coming from a winning program, coming from a great head coach, receiver coach that he's prepared for, and he just embodies everything that we believe in here when it comes to being selfless, tough, disciplined, being able to play multiple positions. You heard about it going into the combine about how great of a guy he was. I had a couple good buddies on that staff, but meeting him, it just confirmed everything that we'd already heard. But it was great to spend some time with him and trying to get him up to speed here.
How do you think everyone's responding to, returning back, coming into a similar offense, but maybe some new terminology and everything like that? How do you think everyone's taking to the new information?
It's been great. From the time that we started this thing off, it wasn't like last year was how we wanted to end it. So everybody's hungry. And we started off talking about what it was to end the season and losing a home playoff game and how that's not why we do what we're doing right now. So you can see the hunger in guys to be able to push on into the playoffs and make a run. And you can tell through the meeting rooms, the questions they're asking, the stuff we're getting done on the field has been – I wouldn't want to compare it exactly to this point last year, but you feel like you're even a step further because we didn't change a lot in the system. And now we can get into the nuances of route running and how we're hitting blocks and getting into the shape we need to get into. So they've been hungry. Nobody's resting on any of the statistical success we had last year because ultimately, team-wise and in the playoffs is far from what we're trying to do.
You mentioned about the statistical success last year. Probably the biggest difference between you and the two first-time coordinators before you is that they had kind of ample room for growth. You inherit a top-5 offense. What do you think? It's a different challenge, but what do you think the key is to sustaining and even adding to the success they had last year?
What we've been harping on is that even though in different categories it was a good statistical year, but still at the end of the day, where the points per game can always go up. Essentially everything can go up. And through our fundamentals and techniques and asking the right questions and pushing the guy beside you, we don't look at it like the scheme is a scheme, but it's like what can we do individually this time of the year to improve their fundamentals, because then that will allow for us to make a deeper run in the playoffs and score more points.
You have an offensive line that's completely back. You have a running back room that's very talented and had a breakout star. What led to the success last year in the ground game, and how do you build on top of that this year?
It was getting to the point where the scheme was molded to fit what the O-line was good at, what the backs were good at, and that's how we left the season, so we can now have a starting point for what we feel like was put our players in the best position to make plays. So you can always improve that. There's always new things. I mean, I know we're talking about the combine and the draft, but we spend a lot of time looking around the NFL for different schemes that we feel like can be implemented. We watch so much tape on the college prospects that we picked up 4 to 5 plays just watching Mecca's tape or Tez's tape on things that we've already implemented. So you can find it from anywhere. We had international coaches in here the last couple weeks, and so they've got things that we've never heard of, so you can get it from anywhere.
How would you expect the rotation or the usage of your running backs to be similar, different? I mean, Bucky obviously emerged at the end of the season as a starter, for whatever that's worth. But, Rashad still has a role, and I would think you'd want to get Sean involved. If you
For
can.
sure. Yeah, I would say how we ended last season was essentially where we would take off. But to your point, there's a spot for all three of those guys. You can see, of course, what Bucky can do and being in his rookie year, but what Rashad brings to the table from a pass catching standpoint and even in the run game. But really good route runner. We all know he's really good with the ball in his hands on screens, drop back pass game, and I don't want to compare him to a lot of other guys, but he is close to, if not as good as anybody we see in terms of pass protection in the NFL. So that is a testament to what he can do from understanding blitz patterns, the communication with Bake and Graham and the O-line. So he's done an unbelievable job with that. And about Tuck as well, I know he had the opportunities there in New Orleans and a couple games down the stretch, but he's looked really good in the drills we've been doing right now. So hoping to see an increased role for Sean as well.
Josh, I think one of the goals in keeping it in-house and promoting you is the continuity of having someone that's been in this offense. But I'm sure there are things you'll want to tweak and adjust to make it your own. Without tipping your hat, without giving anything away, are there things you think of that will be subtly different about this offense if it's the way you want it to be?
There are. I would say the players know that there are based on the installs and things we've done. If you just went out and watched what we just did, I don't think you would look at it as overly different. But it's just more in the schematics and behind the closed doors of nuance changes and a couple of the way things are called. But in terms of how it would look just watching it, I don't think you'd see a whole lot of difference.
How much of an advantage finally, these guys have had, you're like the fourth coordinator, I think, in like 4 years, but schematically at least, maybe the language, is the carryover continuity is so important for these guys to not have to start with a new playbook every year.
100%. When we show a slide up there of a run concept or what we're doing in our drop back protection or a route concept, unless we slightly change the name of it, they should know the fundamentals of what that is. And it really just allows them to be coaches as well, to be able to now help Mech, help Tez, help some of the Josh coming in at halfback, to them be the coaches as well versus they're just trying to take care of their business last year.
You might be still figuring out kind of how the mechanisms of the offensive staff will work and who will handle what, but one of the new faces is Kefenza Hinton, a guy you know well. Just ask you what he brings and how he'll fit into the staff.
Yeah, it's been I've expected it to be great, but it's been even better just because he had not been here, right? So he didn't know the system. So now installing it to him and him being able to nitpick, does that make sense? Or if this is unclear to him, we've always looked at it like coaches, if it's unclear to us or it's a gray area for us, the tight end and the receiver is going to have no shot. So being able to pick his brain on what makes sense has been invaluable. And then his ability to evaluate the free agents and the guys coming from college, especially like with him and BMAC, these guys coaching college for that many years, they got a good idea. The tape is the tape, but who is that guy? That's why you get the Meccas and the Tezes, because you know of the character. So he's been invaluable on that side of it as well.
Baker Mayfield is obviously a big part of the offense's success last season. What has your communication been like with him throughout the offseason? Where do you want to see him take that next step?
Yeah, it's something we talked about from the start, and that is he's always been a great leader, but it's not like there's a ceiling on his ability to do that. So it is his offense, it's been his offense, but then now taking that and giving it to the rookies. And then just harping on, he plays the game like a UFC fighter and trying to take a couple of the hits off of him and not playing like that all the time. And we addressed not only him, but with the whole unit on the turnovers were unacceptable from, it is not just him or the backs or the receivers, but being something that needs to go down from what it was last year. But it's been open dialogue with all those guys, and they've taken to it, and we've harped on it, and they've done a good job so far in some of the drills we've been doing.
Do you expect him to maintain the level of efficiency that he had last year? I mean, he completed 71% of his passes, which was way above any other year in his career.
Yeah, I think he looks at it like the whole rest of the unit looks at it. We're just trying to, if the points per game are where they need to be and we're scoring a bunch of points, whether that means he's throwing it a bunch or we're running it a bunch, he just wants to win. So I don't know if he necessarily looks at it. I look at it like, hey, we got to hit 72%. We're just trying to win games and put the ball in the end zone.
How important is his leadership to this overall group, even like inviting the rookies out and everything this year already?
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. What he's able to do from for the rookies. I know him talking to Mech the night he got drafted and spending time with him the next day when he's able to get to Tampa. But he makes it go. It all goes through him. He's the one that runs the show, and they all gravitate towards him, and rightfully so. And you can tell that he's just even more comfortable in that and having the success he's had. And those guys leaning on him because they know they can trust him, and he's got their best interests at heart.
Josh, I don't think Jason.
More, please.
I don't think Jason Light has mentioned you this offseason without also mentioning Blizzard, like North Carolina. I just want to see if you've been back, and obviously they've been proud of you for a long time, but what it's like to go back as an NFL coordinator.
Yeah, it's always great to go home. That's where my family lives, right there near the intersection. I don't know if you guys have seen the show that he was speaking about, but yeah, that's right there. It's not an actual town, but it is an intersection. And I go home a good amount. I always try to get home after the season, see my family. They're all there, grandparents, brother, all my buddies from high school. And then over the summer, getting a chance to see them too. So everybody's excited for the season ahead. There's definitely more people that want to, hey, we're going to come to this game and that game. But that's been fun.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.